Exactly 2:20 a.m., September 14th, 2025. In the cold stillness of night, deep within the Stroganovo region of Leningrad Oblast, the forest hummed with an eerie calm. Only the whisper of wind moved through the pine trees, and the rhythmic metallic hum of distant train wheels echoed faintly through the valley. Unseen beneath that calm was a mission unfolding with surgical precision, one that would send shockwaves through Russia's military supply network by dawn. An operative from Ukraine's elite Kit 91 combat group, dressed in a worn-out maintenance uniform, emerged from the mist like a shadow. His movements were deliberate and efficient, the kind of calm precision that comes only with years of training. Beneath his jacket, strapped tightly across his chest, was a directional explosive device. Custom-engineered, compact, and lethal. Every motion had been rehearsed hundreds of times. Within minutes, he reached the rail junction connecting Stroganovo and Machinskaya, a critical artery feeding Russia's southern defensive ring around St. Petersburg. He crouched low, unfastening the steel bolts of the rail fasteners. The device was placed perfectly. Not to obliterate the train, but to cripple it, to force it into a vulnerable position. The goal wasn't destruction yet. It was control. 75 miles away, a Ukrainian reconnaissance team sat in a hidden command post, eyes glued to a bank of glowing monitors. They weren't looking at daylight imagery or drone video feeds. They were watching thermal vision, transmitted through a fiber optic UAV link so thin it could fit through the eye of a needle. The link carried no radio signal, no electromagnetic trace, invisible to Russian detection. On screen, the scene glowed in surreal infrared hues. The diesel locomotive shimmered at 115 degrees, its heat signature a clear beacon on the dark landscape. One by one, the operators worked the tank cars. 15 in total, each showing consistent heat, meaning all were fully loaded. That translated to over 2.2 million pounds of diesel fuel, enough to power 3 armored brigades for an entire week. It wasn't just a train, it was a lifeline. The analysts confirmed the train's direction. It was heading down the Luga-Gachina corridor, one of the last surviving supply lines linking the rear logistics hubs of Leningrad with the southern front. Losing this train would be more than a blow to resources. It would be a strategic wound. For weeks, Ukrainian intelligence had mapped this target with obsessive detail. Signals from GSM towers, satellite intercepts, and encrypted phone chatter were pieced together like a jigsaw puzzle. They built a complete digital timeline. Departure times, fuel weights, crew rotations, even unscheduled maintenance stops. No detail was left unchecked. By the night of September 14th, the trap was ready. The mine planted by the Kit 91 operative was merely the first act of a two-phase strike. Once detonated, the train would derail, and the second phase, a coordinated FPV drone assault, would finish the job. From the Ukrainian perspective, this was textbook asymmetric warfare. Low cost, high precision, and devastating effect. As the train thundered toward the kill zone, the reconnaissance commander whispered the final check. Air defense blind zone confirmed. Communication stable. Fire conditions optimal. The order was short and cold. Begin phase 1. The hunter had set the bait. Now, all that remained was for the prey to step into the snare. At 2:50 a.m., the train entered the open corridor. A narrow stretch between sparse woodland and grass meadows. The engineer inside saw nothing unusual. The dashboard gauges read steady. Oil pressure normal, brake air pressure within range, speed holding at 27 mph. To him, it was just another night run through Leningrad Oblast. But to the Ukrainian command watching through their infrared feed, this was the moment of truth. In the command post, one word appeared on the monitor. Tactically isolated. The switch flipped. Cabin lights changed from green to red. FPV drone operators straightened in their seats. On screen, digital reticles blinked alive, each marking a separate target. The drones were already airborne, 4 mechanical hawks closing in from the darkness, carrying PG-7VL anti-armor warheads strapped to reinforced frames. These weren't commercial toys. Each drone was custom-modified. Hardened data links, 56x optical zoom, speed exceeding 100 mph. Their operators, veterans of dozens of precision missions, guided them silently through encrypted channels. Then, the trigger. At 2:51:44 a.m., car number 3 rolled over the hidden pressure sensor embedded under tie number 9. It clicked, barely audible, but that click unleashed hell. The mine exploded. The rail fasteners sheared apart. The steel track warped like taffy under heat. The lead cars wrenched sideways, the massive train jerking violently. Nearly 985 feet of rail disintegrated in less than a second. The locomotive screamed under the sudden load. Sparks sprayed. Inside the cab, the engineer slammed the emergency brake. The co-driver hit the alarm. Too late. 2 million pounds of metal clawed at the earth, twisting, grinding, breaking. Cars 4 through 11 slammed into each other. Couplings snapped. Tankers tipped like dominoes. Diesel began leaking into the soil, shimmering silver under the moon. Light. The massive convoy, a 15-car chain of steel and fuel, now lay broken, bleeding, and motionless in the dark field. Small fires flickered, painting the wreckage in ghostly orange. And the real strike hadn't even begun. At 2:52:40 a.m., the command post gave the order. Phase 2. Execute. From 3 directions, 4 FPV drones dove toward the crippled convoy. UAV-1 locked on car number 3. UAV-2 on car number 9. UAV-3 on car number 13. UAV-4 held altitude, waiting for the locomotive kill command. Within seconds, the first drone plunged into its target. The explosion ripped through the tanker like a knife through paper. Diesel vapor ignited instantly. A fireball soared 80 feet high. Shock waves rippled across the field. Car number 2 derailed completely. The air turned into a furnace. Drone number 2 followed. The shaped charge tore open the 9th car. Flames shot sideways, catching the central cluster. Temperatures rose above 2,000 degrees. Drone number 3 dove next, splitting open the tail section. The convoy now burned in 3 separate infernos, each feeding the other with roaring intensity. Then came drone number 4, the executioner. With a single command, finish it. The final drone dropped toward the locomotive. The strike was perfect. The warhead pierced the engine bay, detonating deep within. The explosion was small, surgical, and final. The locomotive died instantly, its steel body twisted beyond repair. By 2:55 a.m., the train was no longer a train. It was a field of fire, a mountain of burning diesel visible for miles. By dawn, the horizon over Gachina was painted black with smoke. From satellite images, the plume stretched 2.5 miles, thick and oily, visible even to civilian cameras. What had once been a proud freight convoy was now a graveyard of melted steel and charred machinery. The Ukrainian reconnaissance feed had already gone dark. The fiber line self-destructed automatically to erase any trace. But the damage was done. Within just 11 minutes, Ukraine had achieved what artillery and missiles often couldn't. A complete logistical kill, with less than $10,000 in total cost. Russian emergency crews reached the scene nearly half an hour later, too late to save anything. 9 tankers were completely destroyed, 3 others heavily damaged, and the locomotive shattered beyond salvage. The 984-foot stretch of track was warped like ribbon, 90 sleepers torn out of alignment. Officially, Russia's Ministry of Transport called it a technical malfunction. A derailment due to track failure. No mention of drones, No mention of explosions, no mention of sabotage. But images told another story. Satellite photos showed tankers burned to hollow shells, hatches flung hundreds of feet away, and black scars etched into the ground like craters. Opposition sources quickly confirmed. This was no accident. The train had been carrying over 2.2 million pounds of diesel fuel, critical for armored brigades south of St. Petersburg, preparing for a counteroffensive. The cost to Russia? $3.5 million in losses. 3 days of logistical paralysis. 2 armored divisions forced to reroute through exposed secondary lines. The cost to Ukraine? 4 FPV drones. 1 fiber optic recon UAV. A single planted explosive. Under $10,000 total. The balance of modern warfare had shifted. This was more than a tactical win. It was a psychological earthquake. Every train engineer, every logist, Isyan, every fuel convoy commander now felt the same creeping fear. Nothing was safe anymore. The front lines could change overnight, but the battlefield was everywhere. Even on quiet rails at 2:20 a.m. By 8:00 a.m., fires still burned. Black smoke rose into the pale sky, carrying the scent of burning fuel and metal. The wreckage smoldered like an omen. The symbol of a war fought not with massive armies, but with precision, patience, and intelligence. As dawn broke over the Leningrad Oblast, one truth stood clear. The rails that once carried the heartbeat of Russia's war machine had become its weakest vein, and Ukraine had found the pulse, and cut it clean.